All right, you know what it is. It's your boy Kamal Hart on the chart, and I'm going bar by bar. Same as always, now and forever. Okay, so starting off the day, it's clearly like a range going on. It's a little choppy, but I see the highs up here. I pretty much see the lows probably off this bar. I could say off that bar just about. And I got to the screens right around 5:30, so it's about when I started. I saw this move shoot up. So really just looking to get long somewhere down here. Um, Same as always. There's our midline. So right there, that was going to be the lower high setup, but this signal bar is an inside bar, so it's not so good. But it falls back, and then when it breaks higher here, that signal bar is too bearish to buy when it broke above, so we probably would have skipped that. And it keeps shooting down. Now we're getting that breakout sort of play, and then here's where I took my first trade. Um, I'd probably say this is an aggressive A minus, maybe B plus. But essentially, all it was is like a breakout fade back into the range. Second entry long off this high. See how that high is higher than those highs. So none of these break above. It finally broke above there. It fails. Went lower again. So once it breaks above here, I want to go long. Really, I was just trying to see if I could get it to the well, I don't know. Really, I guess I was looking for it to come to the other side of the channel. But of course, I have my scalp and then my runner. I was trying to figure out where I would actually put that runner. Um, and so there goes my scalp, pretty easy. And then it it starts giving me those bearish reversal signs, but none of these are necessarily my exit pattern. Um, and then when it broke below on this bar and then on that bar, I was exited at break even plus one on the runner. Something that I noticed though is that um, what I could have done is exited once prices broke below this bar. I could have exited my runner because that's a reversal pattern off this high. Went higher once, it fails. It goes higher a second time. It has a failed break higher from this previous swing, comes all the way back down. Once it breaks below there, that's not a bad place to exit. But I didn't really see that during the session, during the trade, so I missed it. But for next time, I probably could have used this reversal pattern for my exit. Um, and so then when we turn down here, um, I kind of had two things going through my mind is that maybe our range is actually more down here. That's possible. And I can even run with that for now. Um, there's definitely more touches up in here, but it's a little tough to say for sure right now. Probably have our midline somewhere in there. So at this point, this is a breakout pullback. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, well, from these highs to the breakout pullback swing, we kind of have a trend just through there. And I'm going to put the channel line on this side, kind of like this, somewhere in here. Now, this would actually, depending on how you're reading prices, this was a nice short, but if you're really seeing the range pre-market, um, you probably aren't taking this short. So it kind of it's unfortunate, because that one goes pretty well, but I don't think given the context you would have been looking for this short. But if you took that, it ends up being pretty nice. So that shoots off, and that's okay. Um, Really, what we're doing now is we're looking for shorts. It's clearly a breakout pullback and kind of a trend down, which isn't too out of the ordinary. If you look from the overnight pre-market, we kind of traded down into the range. So we're just kind of continuing that previous trend. Um, I like how this other side is holding prices. Now, that's the lower high, but of course, we can't go short 2 ticks from the low and right into the channel line. So I'm skipping anything. Anything down here is getting skipped. Um, this is the, well, so it didn't break below here. So when it breaks below here, that's actually the lower high now. This is the signal bar. It's not that bearish. It's just a first entry to the low, first entry off the high. It's nothing yet. And it goes, but that's not what we need. And then here you get the failed second entry, right? When it broke above and then fails right there. Now, once again, it's like too close to the lows. If you look at it at the time, it's too close to the lows and it's right into this channel. That's not where we're looking to go short. So I skipped both of those trades. And you can see how it's not really breaking that channel line. That's a good sign. That's a really good sign for us. Just get one more midline for up here. Okay. And then you can see we start to go sideways and get that breakout outside. This is a first entry to that low. It's kind of like a breakout fade. It's not quite a good setup yet, but maybe if you're aggressive. And it would have stopped you out, so it's all good. Now what we got though is kind of this bull trend. Even though we don't have the reversal pattern yet, we have this bull trend that was below the EMA and is closing above the EMA, and it moved past previous swings. So I'm not looking for longs until I get that reversal pattern, but I want to respect this channel and see how it plays out before I go short again. So I just have probably something just like that. And then another thing to look for actually is this was our range 1. Just as a measure, let's see if this bounces around where the second range would have been. So potentially, if we were using these kind of bigger range lines, you'd probably have a range. You could have a range that's looking like that. So we want to see if we get more support at this line or not. What's going on? But for the moment, because I don't have enough bounces off this low, for the moment, I'm just really playing this longer term bear trend. So here we get that breakout, and now it's important to note that we have this micro trend. It broke out, but now it's closing below the EMA. So if you were thinking about longs, you really shouldn't be, because it's closing below that EMA. It's kind of resuming with the previous trend, and there wasn't even a reversal pattern in the first place. So this is holding up pretty good. And then we get the breakout here, or the reversal here. I just don't like this setup. I don't even think it works. Yeah, in fact, I go short right when it fails, because what happens is once we start closing below this EMA, then we get this setup. I want to see the setup above the EMA. So once it's set up like this, I mean, it is what it is. But when I saw this bar, I wanted to go short, just 1 tick below this green bar. To be honest, though, this trade isn't in my playbook, so I kind of picked the wrong trade. This is a higher low setup. I'm only trying to trade second entries and failed second entries. But this was a higher low setup. It's okay. It's okay. I like it less now because we have this sort of bigger range going on. At the time, I was really just mostly tuned into the channel, and this actually looked a little better at the time on my chart, but it's okay. It wasn't a great setup in my opinion. I got the scalp no problem, but then on the runner, I wasn't able to find a better exit, so I was just stopped out 2 ticks above my entry bar. Well, at the time, what was my entry bar was kind of more so this bar, but yeah, it ends up being pretty much a break even trade. I might have made like $10 on it or something, but that just kind of goes to show that this trade wasn't exactly what I needed, what I was looking for in terms of setup, but it was just enough to get a scalp. And because I have my stop so tight, I really don't lose much on my losses. So okay, now we're starting to push higher. It We made 2 legs down, but we couldn't make a new low, and now we're kind of reversing and closing above this EMA. So one of the first things I just want to look at this leg and see if we go to make a measured move, and if we go beyond the measured move, um, what's going on. And so right here you get that higher low. See that higher low entry. Um, I don't trade the higher lows anymore, but I think this is a good setup given the context we're in. I think this is an okay setup. It's a good signal bar off the EMA. It's a little bit sideways though. The EMA is going a little bit sideways. So if this was a range, you might be buying on the high side of the range. That's the only thing I am seeing that I don't like. But I would buy this and hopefully get out by here. Let's see, 75. Yeah, hopefully you're getting out by these highs, and you're able to get at least that scalp. So that's a pretty good trade. I'd say it's aggressive. Um, No, it's not that aggressive. It's just not really a trade I like, but it's okay. So you can see though we're kind of it's a little bit of a bullish trend, but it's going sideways a lot. So got to be kind of careful and see like it doesn't go far before it reverses. Um, it's kind of what you might expect. So then we get this big bull bull bar, but we wouldn't have entered there yet. But now we have a new swing low. So off this low, we're going to be looking for the higher low than the failed second entry. See if we can get it. And you can see, okay, now we're starting to get another push higher. Um, I don't know how much this is going to help us yet. But let's see if we get this on the chart, what we get. We might have something there. Let's see how this holds. I like see how it kind of holds through there. That's okay. Maybe this needs to be a little steeper. But you can see we go sideways and then we're starting to break to the low side. And another thing to put in mind is that you can definitely see that the highs of this sort of mini range in there and maybe the lows down there or something. So you can see that we broke out and now we're getting that fade. So I want to see it try to fade and then give me a bull signal. I want to buy. And it's a second entry long off this high, first entry, second entry. So the funny thing about this trade is that um, I had a limit order waiting on this trade, but it's not only it's like a breakout pullback. It's a second entry long. It's a failed second entry short. It's like 3 different setups all in one. So when it triggered, it pretty much this candle just went without me. It didn't even tick back to fill the limit orders, not even a little. Usually it'll tick back, fill limit orders, tick back into the negative a little bit, and then go. Once this thing broke above, it just kept going. So I think I'm realizing that when you have the trades that are like literally like this one, where they're like three different confirmations, those sometimes won't won't catch the limit order. This is a good place to use a stop if you really want to be filled. Um, and this trend channel is a little deceiving. I wasn't using this channel. If anything, I just now made my channel because off this low, we have the reversal pattern, and now we have a breakout pullback. So if anything, I'm probably using a trend more like this at this moment. Um, Probably something more like this at the moment. And then what I'll do as well, let's put a midline. Put a midline in there. Okay. So at this point, I had just missed this trade, and it does numbers. It does real good. Um, then I was done for the day after that. I had somewhere to go in the morning. I couldn't really use my more time to trade, but man, that would have been a really nice trade and really would have added the cherry to my day, to the metaphorical cake I'm suggesting today was. Anyway, so we're still in this channel looking for entries. Now we're going to be careful about going long once we get on this side of the range. But now that we're still on this lower side, maybe we'll get a pullback and we can buy again somewhere. Um, you can see like we have all these little bear or little bull entry bars and stuff. I'm not into this one. I definitely am not into this one. Not into this one so much. I want to see if we get another pullback or something. You kind of get the pullback, but it's basically going sideways, so we're just gonna wait. Um, and then here we get the breakout side. So we got this channel, first breakout side. We're gonna see if we get a two legs higher. And what we're getting right now is we got two legs lower, which is cool. That's what we expect on a retracement. And then see right here, you get the second entry long, first entry, second entry. So when it breaks above there, I'm cool going long there as well. I think that's at least an A setup in my opinion. And we're still on the low side of the range, so I like that on this short side. So yeah, I'd probably go long there. It never breaks above though until here. I'm not into it anymore. I don't like this being my signal bar. So although this was a nice setup, it didn't trigger. So I probably would have removed my orders once it didn't break above. And this is a trade that I'm not using anymore in my strategy, but it's definitely a valid trade. Here's the higher low. That's a good signal bar. Probably trap some people trying to go short right there and close on its high. And that's kind of, this trade kind of set up kind of ugly. So it kind of reset and gave us another chance to enter. I probably would have taken that trade if I was still trading. Um, that one gives you what you need for sure. So now we have that two-legged pullback, breakout to a move to a new high move. Um, the obvious target is going to be the other side of the range, but another target we're just going to see if we make 100% retracement or extension. Yeah, so we'd have another target up there. Um, doesn't look like you're going to get that. You're already making a lower high. And then if you had a runner still, once you close below this EMA, because look, you made a swing lower, and then once you close below that EMA, that's going to be two exit. That's almost three exit signals. You really only need two. Um, but it doesn't give you the second one until there. So you end up almost in the same spot. So we're just waiting. We're in the middle of the range. There's nothing we really want other than to buy down here and to sell up here. And I'm not too pressed to sell up here. I want to really make sure that it's coming off this high side when I'm selling. So that looks cool, but that's just a first entry. In fact, what I really should do is, because we had the break and move to a new high, this is a micro trend. So really what we're going to look for is it might break out, hit the EMA, make a new low, and maybe start reversing. It's hard to tell what it's doing while it's in the middle right here. And see what we got. We got that breakout, hit the EMA, then big reversal bar, but none of this is stuff you can really sell. So we're just waiting. It's funny. This is a second entry long. If it breaks above this bar, off this high, first entry, second entry, but I'm not interested in that. Breaks above right there. See what it would have got you. And so you can see you actually get a reversal pattern. So off this high, first entry fails, the second entry fails. You could go short there, but we're on the wrong side of the range. That's my only issue with going short right there. I honestly wouldn't take that trade, even though it is a setup. And you probably got the scalp, even on the stop. Yeah, you got the scalp. So it would have worked. I guess it's aggressive if you want to say that. It's just definitely not a trade I'm looking to take. So for the people who would have traded that, it's there. So now we got a channel going down. Really though, I'm not trying to sell. I'm just trying to buy. So I want to see this break out, test low, and then start moving higher and try to buy it. It gives a nice little push too. You can see we're breaking out right there. And you can see we have this kind of like two-legged move. Definitely have the breakout. And we're trying to retest these lows. But the retest fails. And then we have a reversal pattern right there if it breaks above. We're not going to buy that though, because you can see prices are moving pretty sideways. So let's wait. Hopefully we'll break out, get above the EMA, pull back, and keep going higher. And you can see if you would have entered on that, so just for reference sake, if you would have entered on that, you get stopped out. But really what's going on, at least down here, is just some congestion. Pretty much that's all it is. So you see you got that breakout side, move to a new low. And it even goes a little bit past our range line. That's a higher low. So this is an interesting trade. Here's a higher low. It's an engulfing bar, so I wouldn't put my limit up here. You would have had to enter after this bar closes on a limit back in here. It gets filled and it turns back. So I'd say that's another really aggressive. It's not really aggressive. It's just a little bit advanced in terms of how you enter this correctly. And it's just like I said, you need a limit order back in here or maybe one tick above back in here. And if it pulls back, it enters you, so you can keep your risk pretty much in control. But you can't buy this type of trade when it breaks above this bar. You have to wait for this bar to close. On the higher low setups, you need a good signal bar. So you don't get a good signal bar until this last bar here closes. And then from there, you just say, okay, let me see if I can get back a little bit on this entry. So you get a nice push. That's good. And really, it's aggressive. In fact, I think I missed a trade too down here. I wasn't thinking about it, but you can see it off this green bar. This is a second entry long. This high is swingier than that. This this swing is higher than that swing. And you get a first entry, second entry. So there's a second entry right there. I'll put that on there. If you're seeing the range, that's probably going to be a little aggressive because you're going to want to see a higher low, which is right here, because right now the momentum is pretty bearish. But if you see the range and you see that second entry long with a good signal bar, those are usually good trades. And so that's what I saw right there. So we get that push up. This is what we want to see though, regardless. Basically, we're below the EMA. Now we're closing above the EMA, and we move past previous swings. So we're going to give that its very own micro trend. So if I was to put the trend there, we have a channel extension or a channel overshoot. So let's just play that. If this is a channel overshoot, then we're expecting this trend to keep going because it's much stronger than this angle. Or when it does come back to this side of the channel, it might not respect it. So it's kind of keep going. You can see how it pushes through, doesn't really respect it. So that's kind of key. And you can see, yeah, it just pushed right through that. And now it's closing below the EMA. We don't have a reversal pattern yet. And another key, the reason why I'm not going to draw a line short is because, yeah, we're above and closing below, but we haven't broken any previous swings. See, the previous swing is down here. So we'd have to get basically down here before I give this a line, or we get a reversal pattern before I give this a line. So for now, I'm still bullish. I'm just waiting to see us start closing back above the EMA. So like right here, that's a nice signal bar, but it's just the first entry. It's a failed second entry from here though, right? So off here, first entry. So this is aggressive. I think this is aggressive. Just because I want to see the failed second entry on this move, not so much on this big ass pullback. So it could get a little sketchy when you buy that trap after a big pullback like this. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it never triggers, so you weren't in. So that saves you some time. And then here it triggers. I don't like it personally. Um, I definitely don't like the up down bar setup. I don't think I would have entered this. It's probably still a good trade if you're being aggressive, because at the end of the day, we are at the lows of a range. So if you're being aggressive, it's probably an okay trade, but I don't really like that setup anymore. And you can see what you need for a scalp for sure. Moving forward, though, you get a second entry long. If it breaks above this bar, that's a second entry long. It's not a great signal bar, but we're closing above the EMA. We have a lot of momentum to the high side. Not a lot of momentum, but probability says we're moving towards the high side. So if it breaks above here, you might go long. It's not a great setup, and it does. And you can see you basically get out on the bar you enter on. So I'll definitely consider that. Today was actually a really good trading day. I'm kind of upset that I I wasn't around to trade some of these setups. These would have been easy runners for sure. Um, see how it doesn't really go far. And then here is another trade. Well, it's not. Technically, it's not. I was going to say this is a failed second entry short off this low. First entry fails, second entry fails, but it's actually not. This swing isn't lower than any previous swings. So really the count was down here, and this is still a failed second entry. So you probably have to skip that, even though it looks pretty good. My only issue is that I see a congestion zone. That's my only issue. Um, So it could very well break above, hit these highs, and then reverse. So that's a little dangerous. Given all that, I'm skipping it, but I I think this is an okay trade, to be honest. Yeah, and that one goes, that one does pretty well. Um, yeah, I'd really only skip it because of the congestion zone. I'm willing to consider this a failed second entry. I'm willing to kind of overlook that it didn't hit a swing. It's just that congestion zone. I've seen it too many times hit right there in reverse and keep going, and but it's there. It's there. Okay. So now we're moving higher. We definitely have this big leg higher. Um, Not sure how to chart this yet. I don't know if I want to have a trend kind of off these touches and bring that over. I don't think that's really helping me much either. You can see I already have a channel overshoot. So I think better is going to be something like this off the highs. Um, and you can see it really cuts this price action a little bit. So maybe it's off of here, and we'll just have to wait to see if it pulls back to this area. I think for now, what we can do is we can just give it another trend higher, just off that kind of like reversal pattern, and we can just see what it does. We're not buying up here. We're too far from the EMA. We're closing on the high side of the range. That's not where you want to buy. Of course, it fails. No big surprise there. This is a first entry, so we gotta wait, see what happens. Pullback. So now we get that two-legged pullback. Um, there's no reversal pattern. We're above and below the EMA, and we move past the previous swing. So you could give this a micro trend back there. I don't know though. I don't think that's something I would use, but I'm just trying to be consistent in my charting. But I don't really think I'd even really put that there. I don't know why I wouldn't do it. I think it's just because it's like a swing move and not just like a tight channel or a breakout. But let's just put it on there. Just because we have the line there doesn't mean we're looking for shorts. Most times, what I'm trying to do is I have all my short-term trends, but I'm trying to trade the bigger patterns. I want to trade this big range. If this channel holds, I want to trade the channel. I want to trade this one. I want to trade the biggest patterns I see on my chart. So all these little short-term, these things are just to keep me on the right side of the trade so I don't buy too early or something like that. And you can see like right here how it holds. See how that holds the channel? Uh, this lower side still isn't confirmed though because that's just the second touch. We need a third touch that holds. But there is a second entry long right there. First entry right there. And then if it breaks above here, that's a second entry. Um, Now we have this little downward channel moving, so it's a little bit aggressive to go against it, and it's right into that EMA. But I do think that this is an okay trade. Um, let's see how it does. You can see again, it never breaks above, so you're not even in yet. Now this looks actually pretty bullish, but we're starting to get the bar that's inside of a bar that's inside of a bar. One thing to note though, with the way this one is setting up, is that we're kind of at the low of the congestion zone. The highs are up here. So if you did buy that, there's not enough room to scalp, but it's interesting that we're at the lows of this congestion zone. So it's there, and you can see how sideways that is, right? So ideally, I would have liked it if it would have broke above on this green bar, but since it didn't, I don't think I'm going to enter on these bars. Only thing I see is that off this low, that's the higher low, and here's the reversal. So you get a reversal pattern right there. So if maybe you buy when prices break above this green bar, you could maybe buy. But that's going to be more aggressive. That's no longer like what I would call a textbook setup. I say that's going to be a little bit more aggressive to buy that. It shoots off. That's a great trade for you, but it's just because of the sideways movement. It's a little aggressive, but we're still looking at this overall trend, and it's very possible that the trend is a little flatter. It's possible that the trend is more off there, and that gives you a better. It probably holds a little better on the low side. So if I was to bring this over, yeah, you can see how this already looks way better on the low side. So this is probably closer to the real trend on the low side, and that definitely helps you get inside this trade a lot sooner. Another thing to note is that once we have this reversal pattern right there, I'm completely ignoring all this stuff. I'm completely ignoring it. I'll probably just take it off the chart. What I'll do is that I don't like using those wide channels, but I can still chart this and say, hey, this was a leg down, broke outside, made a new low, and it reversed. Something like that. Boom. So that ends up being an amazing trade. You don't even have an exit signal yet. Let's see when you get your first exit signal on this trade. Nothing yet. Here's your first swing lower. So that's exit signal 1. We need 2, and preferably we need a reversal pattern. So that's exit signal 1. It came really close to this EMA. It depends on how you play that. I like to see it close underneath the EMA, and at one point it looked like it was going to shoot past the EMA. So I could understand why you would exit. So depending on how you treated this, you probably exited here. But if you were patient for the close, you see that it never closes below the EMA. So you're still in, and you need one more exit signal. The prices are just going sideways, and then it gets another shoot up. So you're not out yet. If you entered here, you're either out kind of right here, or if you're not, you're still in. No exit signals. I think the only real target you have is leg 1, leg 2. So that's leg 2. So if that's your leg 2 target, you're probably going to exit right there. If you're playing the range, you're going to look to exit at the top of the range, or maybe at the channel line. So maybe you're exiting right here. That's a pretty good exit. Still going higher, dang. Here's a failed second entry short, this green bar. I have an issue with it though. Um, I don't want to. I definitely don't want to buy on the high side of the range this close to the highs, and we're not close to the EMA. If we were off the EMA, maybe I'd consider it, but not up here. It's not a good place. It works though, so you know, whatever. But that's not where I want to go long. And you can see that now for sure. If you were still holding this trade, you got the other side touch. There's no reason to still be in. Um, you know. And it right here, it's kind of a breakout pullback, I'd say. kind of broke out, pulls back, and it continues higher. So let's just wait to see what it does. See how far outside it goes. Yeah, and it comes right back into the channel. Um, a little bit of a hidden trade. I don't think I would take it though. There's a little second entry long right there. I probably wouldn't take it though. Um, and it's a nice like low risk bar, but it's not off that EMA. It's kind of a breakout pullback officially. It's aggressive. It's a super aggressive. It's probably not worth it. And I think that's pretty much it for the day. It's 11:40. Um, okay, it's yeah, maybe 8 minutes. So like I like this one though. You can see how off this high, first entry, second entry, and this is what I'm talking about. It's off the EMA, off the midline. It's not a great bull signal, but it's an okay bull signal. Um, it's definitely kind of like a breakout pullback, and you can see the sideways movement right there. So it broke below, we might retest the highs. Um, this is this is going to be a green trade. It's not that aggressive. I think it's only aggressive because of time of day. It's really close to the 2 o'clock cutoff hour, and it's off the midline and not our main channel line, but it's a pretty strong trend. So, I mean, this entire move has been pretty strong. So it's just aggressive for those reasons. But the setup itself, the setup is definitely a B plus type setup, and that one works pretty well. Doesn't really go far though. Like your runner probably gets stopped out, but it's an okay trade. That gets you to noon. Did I say 2 o'clock? I meant noon. Um, yeah, that gets you to noon. So I wouldn't be looking for any more trades. But today was a really great day. Like really great day. A lot of trades. Almost no fake outs, which is lately it's rare. It used to not be so rare. I mean, I don't know why lately I've been getting faked out so much, but today there's almost none. Um, yeah, really good trading day. Really good price action. It was basically just a big range, but there's a downtrend, uptrend, downtrend, and a big uptrend. So it's pretty much all it ends up being. That's it. Tomorrow is Friday, last day of the week. Um, of course, we're going to be back to do it again. But until then, Kamal Hart is signing out. Peace.